I can't be peeling my casket, make sure I die with a 10. It's part of the brand. I know that I came with a slide.
Back, we're at another episode of The Grind, and today we have a very interesting guest. I know a lot of you are here for, let's get into the sales, let's get into the commissions, but someone more on the back end of actually being a matchmaker. Tania, please introduce yourself to everybody.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm Tania Gonzalez. I'm with New Venture Escrow. I've been a sales executive with them for 9 years now.
See, a lot of people getting into real estate, whether that's on the loan side, escrow process, like kind of what do you do? A lot of people are like, well, you sell houses. There's people that finance houses.
Yeah. So, not a lot of people know what escrow is. I didn't know what escrow was when I first started, but we're the neutral third party in a real estate transaction. What I do, though, is I'm the sales rep that supports our escrow officers. There's an escrow officer, and they handle all the paperwork. I'm out on the field, so I do what you do, but basically my target are real estate agents. So I get them to utilize us, but I help their business. I'm very big on connecting people, so I'm trying to see what you need in your business and how I can tie in and I can help you, connect people that you need to meet. There's just, there's a ton of parts of my business, kind of like yours too. Sometimes I'm a therapist as well. I wear all hats.
And it's something that in real estate specifically, it's kind of just, you have to be a jack of all trades.
Yeah.
So going back to, let's start with high school.
Okay.
In high school, did you have one of those dreams? Like, I just had a podcast last week with Clay Murray, who's a lender, and he was like, I want to be a pro baseball player. Did you have some like crazy dream that you wanted to reach, or was high school kind of like, let's just get through it?
Growing up, I always wanted to be an attorney.
Ooh.
But, yeah. And I realized that was very boring and I would not want to do that. I did eventually work at a law firm, and then one of the lawyers there told me, you do not want to be an attorney. Funny enough, she ended up becoming a broker. So she got into real estate and has her own brokerage now. So we both kind of ended up in real estate.
Well, that's pretty funny. So what did you do with that real estate office? I mean, attorney's office.
So it was kind of more real estate focused.
Okay.
We worked for all the big mortgage companies, and they used to send us properties that were in pre-foreclosure and foreclosure, and we used to file insurance claims for all the damages. So back in the day when people used to, mess up their houses while they were losing them, we would come in and have to file insurance claims to recover that money for the mortgage companies.
Yeah, that sounds insanely tough. Did you just stumble into that, or was it something like, I kind of want to explore this?
It was super random. I graduated from San Diego State, and I decided I was going to stop bartending because I said, this is my dead stop. I'm done with that. I'm not going to be 40 years old. No offense to anyone that is, but I wasn't going to stay there because you can easily get stuck in the bar industry. But I decided I was going to find a desk job because everyone thinks, that's how you grow up.
Yeah.
Like as a grown up, I have to sit behind a desk. So that's kind of what I did. And I found it, I think, through Craigslist or something back in the day. And it was neat. They hired basically everyone that just starts right out of college, and then you work your way up. You start as admin and you work up to like a claims examiner, which is like the highest role below the attorneys. And you're basically just on the phone and emailing all day, which is not exciting.
It's not exciting, but it's something to speak to, because I think a good focus of this podcast, especially in our industry as well, no one sits at a desk. But yet that's what we were kind of trained to think, that everyone, hey, 8 to 5, you're going to be at that desk, and like 30-minute break, hope you get ready for it.
Yep.
So going through that, climbing that ladder, is there a point where you were like, this shit sucks?
Yes. So then I got my master's degree because I was really bored because
that's a normal thing when you're bored.
Well, we worked 6:30 to 3:30 or something like that. It was because we worked a lot with mortgagees, and our claims were a lot in the East Coast.
Okay.
So we had to be on the phones with insurance companies really early. So then I'd be done, and all my friends were still at work. So then I said, well, I'm going to go back to school. And I figured if I went back to school, everyone told us that we would get paid more, right?
Yeah, hypothetically.
Yeah, supposedly. Well, went back to school, actually went back for healthcare administration. I then decided I wanted to be a CFO of Children's Hospital. So I went back to school, I went through that, and then find out that if I went to go work for a hospital, I was going to get paid $12 an hour to start. So you can't pay my bills with that.
Especially not in San Diego.
There is no way, yeah. So then, and this all kind of happened at the same time simultaneously. So I was working my way up at the law firm, and then I was, getting my master's, and I finished my master's, find out I wasn't going to get paid much, and then I was over sitting behind a desk. Yep. So it's just like, this is not for me. Everything I thought, and including being a CFO of a hospital, which I would sit behind a desk for 15 hours.
Yep.
I I said, okay, maybe this isn't for me. So transition to how I got to escrow is one of my good friends, Courtney Lewis, which you know, she was working for New Venture Escrow at the time. She had been in real estate, but I had no idea what she did.
No.
So we would just meet up once a month to catch up and have some wine. And so we were just having wine, having dinner, catching up, and I'm talking to her about how I'm so over this job and I am so kind of overqualified, but I'm going to get underpaid if I use my master's. So she's like, well, why don't you come work with me? I'm like, what do you do?
Yeah, what do you exactly do?
I know you drive a nice car, you dress up really nice.
And you have fun every day.
And you have fun, and you have kind of like some freedom in your schedule. And she's like, I do escrow. I'm like, what the heck is escrow?
Yeah.
Don't worry. You're personable. I could teach you escrow. And then we'll just throw you in and I'll teach you everything you need to know.
Well, it speaks volumes that you're at the point where you're like, I'm sitting at a desk, but I want to be better with myself.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go get my master's degree.
Yeah.
Get my master's degree, realizing it didn't really actually better myself. So you found someone who was obviously a friend, but living a lifestyle you kind of wanted. So was it chasing like the, hey, she has freedom, I want freedom? Or why is she always picking up the tab? I kind of want to pick up the tab. What does she do for work?
It was honestly more of... I always told myself, because I was a finance major, I'm not going to go into the sales part of finance because that's scary, right?
Yes.
Being a commission-only employee, that is super scary. Like, no one wants to do that.
Best thing ever.
Well, when you don't know that, it's so scary. So that was me. My mentality was like, I don't know. That's scary. I don't know how much money I'm going to make. Like, how do you do that? She's like, don't worry. All you have to do is work hard, and I know you will, and you'll do well. So I jumped into it and I said, you know what? If it doesn't work out, I'm going to have the freedom where I can, I don't know, go volunteer and work my way into the hospital or something. But I said, at the very least, I'll get some sales experience. I can always use my degree and use sales experience and kind of go into medical device sales or something, I just thought, at the very least, let's try it out. I want to be done with where I'm at. I was over it. I was bored. I don't do well bored. So,
well, yeah. And it's something that you find with highly successful people. It's not the fact that we're bored. It's kind of like, I figured all this out and there's nothing more for me to figure out.
Yeah, there was no more growth, no more room for growth for me. So it was time to move on.
Yeah, and like moving on, okay, let's go that full New Venture. So what year did you join New Venture?
2013.
Okay.
So yeah.
And obviously we're going to go back in time a little bit, but obviously the growth has been incredible.
Yes. Yeah,
so,
it was not easy at first.
No. At first, we're looking at a time where the market has changed quite a bit.
Yeah.
You're jumping in, and a lot of people have dedicated escrow reps that they always work with. So, and Courtney does very well.
Yeah.
So how did you piggyback off of what Courtney was doing to kind of find your way in?
So Courtney was the only rep at New Venture at the time. No one else that would get hired would stick. So it just wasn't working out for people. People just didn't have the work ethic, or it just wasn't right for them. Well, there was, at the time, we only had the Mission Valley office, and then we had Chula Vista. So they're like, you speak Spanish, we actually need a rep in Chula Vista to help grow that office. So I get thrown in Chula Vista. Chula Vista is a whole different animal.
Yes.
So everyone's very cliquey. Everyone's grown up with each other. They all know each other. And there wasn't a lot of reps back then. 9 years ago, there wasn't a lot of like escrow reps. There was a ton of title reps, but not as many escrow reps. So it wasn't normal for escrow reps to like be hitting you up all the time.
Yeah.
And so I think that's kind of what helped a little bit. We were new. We were a newish company in Chula Vista. And I was just like so persistent, and I was always showing up to things, and I was just everywhere. So anywhere that I could potentially find one real estate agent, I was there. So that really helped me because I didn't go away. And there was like, a lot of people that would come in and out of the business, and it just it never worked for them. So for me, it was just, I'm just going to keep going. And there was times that I just called Courtney, like, what did you put me into?
Yeah,
like,
how dare
you do this to me? Like, I'm basically taking a pay cut. And she's like, just keep going. Trust me. Like, as soon as you hit that, like, year and a half, 2 year mark,
smooth sailing.
Yes.
Well, another thing is you are really backed by, and now I'm biased, but the best escrow company, because I rely so much on tech, but you also have an amazing leader.
Yeah.
So coming with Casey, coming with the products, coming with this kind of new way of doing escrow, is that something that really helped you catapult? Or is it something that was like, hey, no, it was me. I needed to figure this out. I just had the best weapons behind me to do so.
So The tools are always great,
Yes.
and it helps your business. But I really believe it's a lot more about the relationships that I've been able to build, and it also comes with the support Casey has provided and
Absolutely.
the company. So anywhere people ask me all the time, why have you stayed with New Venture for 9 years? It's like anything else would be like a downgrade.
Mm-hmm. Oh, 100%.
There's nowhere else that I would go. There's nowhere else that I think would be like, okay, that would be better. We're constantly bringing out new products. We're constantly thinking about how to support the buyers and sellers in the transaction. It just, honestly, it's the best place to be. But it's with Casey's support. He's always available. So we're not like a title company where you can't talk to the president. And we can always like bounce ideas off each other. He is always coming to us for support and ideas and how he can help us better support our agents. And I think that's so important. If we don't have direct access to our CEO, and we can't talk to him about, what's happening on the field with our teams, then
there's a huge disconnect because then it makes your job impossible.
Yeah.
And let's break it down another level. So you meet an agent face to face.
Yeah.
What is your number one goal meeting that agent as an escrow sales rep?
My goal is to help them in their business.
Okay.
And in turn, that'll help our business too.
Yeah.
So I'm always everyone that I meet, I want them to win. So I genuinely want you to win, and I want you to be successful in your role. So that also helps me. I always say, you don't have to work with everyone.
No, you don't.
And I don't want to work with everyone. There's a lot of people that might not fit well with me. A lot of people that might not fit well with you.
Oh, I have a lot of people that don't fit well with me.
Yeah, same. But so it's I don't, and I think that's been part of the key to my growth is that I know that, and I don't. I used to get really sad about I want to work with everyone. I want to work with, I want to work that person, or why don't they work with us? But until I realized that I don't want to work with everyone and I can focus more on my relationships that I currently have and kind of really going deeper in those, it's just definitely helped my business 100%. And it helps my agents.
Oh, yeah. And it's a common topic of ours here with either Velocity or the podcast is, yes, we are in sales jobs.
Yeah.
But at our core, none of us are chasing the dollar. It's that relationship because you're actually helping people. And it's so crazy in this world where everyone looks at real estate as this monopoly. And my parents just bought another house and my dad was pissed. He's like, there's 16 people involved in the transaction. There should only be 2. But he didn't realize that everyone's just trying to help him with his goals.
Yeah.
So looking at that relationship point of view, is there anything where it's you're sitting there talking with an agent, you're like, I can't get through him. I'm not helping him. This is it. Because my dad would be that person for you.
I think that there's just people that come into this business for the idea of money,
Yes.
right? And there's people that think of it as it's really easy, and everyone else is doing it, so I can jump in and do it too, but don't have that drive and that hustle. And we might not see eye to eye in that sense. If you're not willing to go out there and work for your business, then there's nowhere I can help you. So I think our visions have to align, our goals in general and the way we do business has to align so that we can work well together.
You said a good word, hustle.
Yeah.
Now, hustle for what you is different from me. Me, it's prospecting, calls, texts, emails. You, it's the same, but it's also going to events. It's going to lunches. It's going to happy hours because you truly need, and we talk about it all the time, you got to be belly to belly with people.
Yeah.
A text isn't going to get you that relationship, but being there with them will.
Yeah.
So what's more exhausting, the calls and the texts or going out to events?
Events. The calls and the texts, that's easy. I can do that from my couch. I can do that from anywhere. That's not hard, and that's literally just working on relationships. If I reach out to someone, it's not oh great, that's work. I actually don't even feel it like that. But it's the networking that gets exhausting.
Oh yeah.
Being out every night of the week and not being able to be home cooking, making dinner, and just relaxing after 5 is what's exhausting. But it's rewarding
especially now
too.
You're engaged.
Yes. Yeah.
So now all that family stuff is going to kick in.
I know. Got to plan a wedding soon.
You got to plan a wedding. So everyone looks at the industry.
That's making me nervous.
Oh. Well, it shouldn't, because that's the exciting part.
Yeah.
So going into this wedding season,
I
mean, you guys have some properties already. You're set pretty well.
Yeah.
What is something that you really think at your core helped you get to where you are today?
I honestly, you're just saying about the properties, though. I think that a lot of what helped me and better communicate with my agents was when I bought my first property. Because then I went through the process and I could now firsthand experience the escrow process.
I feel like there's holes there. I can fix those holes.
Yeah. So I was able to experience that from both ends. I've bought and sold bought with new venture, sold with new venture, and also bought without new venture. So I can tell the difference. And just the difference in communication, the difference that our like tools have made, the difference in just how a good agent works and how an agent you thought was good would work.
That's a very clever way to beat around that.
Yeah, there you go. So I think that definitely helped because then I can talk firsthand onto the experience and I can talk to my agents as to what is missing and what needs to happen for a client to feel like they're being protected throughout the whole process. And I can also talk through the experience of the escrow process, which is also important. And when someone can tell me like, oh, well, technology is not important. I don't care. I just want my escrow officer to answer. Well, it's also for me that I'm on the go all day. It's really great that I can look on my phone and see exactly where my escrow is. I can access my documents. I can go on there and get like my closing statement and send it out to my tax. It just makes my life easier because I'm on the go. And I think consumers now need that technology. And they're all kind of, our age, running around and busy. So
just getting it right away. So that's actually my second favorite product you guys have, VentureTrack.
VentureTrack.
Number 2. Number 1's Vinny, but we'll get to Vinny.
Vinny's awesome.
VentureTrack. I mean, most escrows, it's like you call, you get the assistant, they have no idea what's going on with the file, they send you to a voicemail and you leave an email.
Yeah.
VentureTrack, I mean, for us, we have anywhere from 6 to 10 to sometimes 15 escrows at once. We can see what's going on file to file at the same place. So how did VentureTrack kind of transform your business? Because I know it had to.
So when Casey opened New Venture Escrow, he came from another escrow company, and he realized that there was a lot lacking. So real estate was embodying and using technology, but escrow process was just staying the same, and it wasn't evolving. So he thought there was a lot of opportunity there to bring in technology to facilitate the escrow process and just things like that, like status updates that don't need to be
voiced that loud.
Yeah, or you don't need a phone call for all that stuff, but that's basically the way. Important. Yeah. So how about we automate that? How about you have access to it from your phone so that way you can see it after hours, on weekends, when escrow's closed, instead of having to tell your client, hey, let me check on status. I'll call you back. Let me call escrow. Can't get a hold of escrow. Call you back in a little bit. Still waiting to hear back. You can just pull it up on your phone. It makes life so much easier. So if we can facilitate that process for buyers, sellers, and the agents, and also create that just where the escrow officers can now handle more important like questions and really handhold the client through the process, as opposed to just constantly being answering, yes, we got your EMD in. Yes, we're closed.
Well, that's huge because a lot of people think escrow officers are there to help the agent. They're there to help the client. As an agent, you should not be calling. Like Albert, I talk to him when we open and when we close. Yeah. Because 1, VentureTrack tells me everything, and 2, Vinny, the AI. If I need something, I could text Vinny and figure it out.
Yep.
If I'm too lazy to go to VentureTrack and log in, I could text Vinny and get the answer.
Yeah.
So Vinny's pretty new. I mean, we're within this year.
So Vinny was created because we have a lot of agents that were saying, I don't want to log into another app. I'm so over apps. I'm tired of having another login. Well, also buyers and sellers, they might only have one deal, right?
Yes.
They might only have one house they're selling with us. So they might not need to go into VentureTrack as much. But if they can automatically get a text message update and then they can respond and ask any questions, it, again, will save everyone time. It'll help them. I think the biggest issue with escrow is when people that unknown, the fear of the unknown. And a lot of that happens, especially when agents don't educate their clients. Like a lot of times clients aren't educated about what's going to happen through the escrow process.
Such a pet peeve for me.
So, and it happens a lot more than you think. Like we get, we get calls from sellers that they didn't know that there was going to be an upfront fee with HOA docs. So
it's so minimal. Like for us, we give a full presentation on it. Like if an agent can't take 10 minutes and be like, there's going to be $400 you have to pay. Yeah. That $400 feels like $4,000 if they're not told about it.
And then they get mad at us. They think that we're just trying to take money from them.
Yep.
So little things like that. Vinny just helps facilitate, all of it. And so again, the escrow officer can worry about, just the more pertinent issues and really walk the buyers and sellers through the process. And again, buyers and sellers are at the forefront of, the whole transaction, everything. And it's like, these are the biggest investments, biggest purchases in their lifetime. We need to make sure that we handhold them throughout the process, as opposed to just letting the agents know, hey, EMD's received.
Yeah, because like, I mean, that's expected.
Yeah.
So it's really cool talking to you about this because I've been working with you for quite a while.
Yes.
Like the passion is obviously there. Is this, you're passionate because you know what it will do for you and your clients? Or are you passionate because you're like, you know what, this is stuff that's actually going to help me with my relationships and build my book of business in my future?
I just love what I do, and I love being able to be a part of someone's like home buying experience because we're still a part of it, right?
Yes, 100%.
We might not be directly involved, like myself, with a buyer or seller, but we're still a part of that process. And I think that it's one of those things where I came from that foreclosure world, and being on that side of it,
negative side,
and hearing just the devastation in people's voices when they were losing their homes, and now being able to be a part of the positive side. People are just building wealth. I think that's so important. I'm a huge believer in real estate and building wealth through real estate. So just being a part of it is kind of what helps fuel me. And I love building relationships. I get to build relationships with all sorts of people, and it's really neat just how big my network has become over the last 9 years. It's rad to, be able to connect with people like you and just get to meet people from all realms of the world.
But if we look at kind of how big that spider web grows, so when I launched Velocity, we partnered up, and that was just me at that point. And now we're 15 months later, we have 14 agents.
That's awesome.
So if we just look at like that one relationship, because eventually when I get to 60 agents, that's 60 more escrows that you're going to have that opportunity with. Wow. It's something within your job that is so powerful with the relations. Yeah. The stat, I think it's 80% of agents are out after 2 years. And you said it too. You don't want to work with everyone.
Nope.
So you find the people that, one, you connect with.
Yep.
Two, you actually think will have a business, and then pour into them. It's awesome. And then the products are good too, I guess.
They're great. They help. Funny enough, though, back when I started, especially in the Chula Vista market, we were already pitching the idea of venture check, and people were just they weren't seeing it at the time. And it's 9 years ago. You would think it's not that long ago.
Exactly.
But up until probably around COVID is when people started realizing the importance of the digital signatures and having access to their file virtually. All of that was just like, that changed immediately.
Well, because so many people were like, at that point, they're like, yeah, I can show up in the office and get it.
Yeah.
But COVID, I mean, even for you guys, being so relationship based and meeting people, and you're like, can no longer meet you for happy hour. How's Zoom sound? Like, it's not as sexy or appealing.
We started doing picnics at the park.
Oh, God. Yeah. So glad I didn't go to one of those.
Yeah. We're very social. As you know, I might say that events get exhausting, but we started to miss them for sure. Being behind a desk, basically all day at home, was hard. It was definitely hard.
But it's like the social side is the most exhausting.
Yeah.
But it's also a part of you. It's like you can say like, yeah, you know what, at the end of it, I'm done. But you truly love it. You have to. And I mean, there's two different types of social. Like Courtney, I love you. But Courtney's the type that's like, I'm going to go all night and have fun with it. And you're like, I want to wrap this up. I make, some crucial, important connections. And then I, talk a little bit to people that I work with and catch up. And then I head home because I have 5 others that week, Exactly. So I'm constantly nonstop where I have a meeting really early. So then I just get minimal time at home in the evenings because I'm, at an event. Yeah. So what is a normal day? Like from caravans to meetings to happy hours. If you were to be like, hey, this is like my average day, what is it? Well, every day is very different. But because there's caravans every day, so I'll do like on Wednesday. Usually I'll get up, go to the gym, do caravan in Chula Vista, and then go out to see some of the open houses if there's any. Usually we'll have like a lunch with the client, then head to the office for probably another meeting. Yep. And then head to an event of some sort. Which is crazy because everyone going back to that desk job. I mean, it's pretty cushy. You know what you're going to do every day. Yeah, and then getting into a true sales job, it's like you wake up, you look at your calendar, and you're like, where am I picking up lunch today? It's like figuring out how that works, and it's crazy. Would you think it's harder and more energy exhausting to work at a desk or what you're doing now? Probably what I'm doing now. Yeah. Yeah. I was falling asleep at my desk. There's
just little to no excitement because you're behind the desk, but you're also not exerting any energy. You're just kind of like there.
Just kind of typing and sending.
Picking up the phone, typing. It's nothing exciting. So for sure, this is a lot more energy, a lot more time, but a lot more rewarding. So
is that something, I mean, from the attorney side to wanting to get into the medical side, is that something within you, you're like, I need to be out doing something, or is it I need to be just building relationships to helping others?
Both.
Both.
Yeah.
That was a good question if I got both of them.
Yeah. If I'm not doing anything of that sort, like I need to, I time block some time for prospecting or just catching up, and but my phone is always ringing, so
yes.
I always have to catch up, anyways. But it's kind of nice. I don't have a lot of downtime usually, because there's always something to do in this business. There's always I can work on. There's social media, which is a whole another beast. So I think that I'm never bored now. So that's the beauty of it.
But that's good, because if we look at highly successful people, we talked about it earlier, you can't be bored. When you're bored, you kind of hit your max.
Yep.
And I think where you're at with New Venture is so cool, because there truly is no max at New Venture. I mean, as the company grows, you got a great CEO who kind of lets you grow within.
Yeah.
You guys adapt. So like podcast, honestly, I'm copying the idea a little bit from you guys.
Well, we loved having you, so.
Oh, well, I mean, it's easy when you show up with crumble cookies and tequila. It's like the two things that keep me going daily.
Good thing there was no tequila here, because it's too early.
Yeah, it might be too early. But that whole side of the business, how it's changing and morphing. I know you can't spill the beans, but do you have a project that New Venture's working on that us agents or in the real estate field should be looking forward to without telling us what it is? Is there something?
Well, we have several things.
Okay.
Part of it would be just additional markets that we're actually going to be opening up. And,
that's awesome.
And I don't mind saying it. Orange County is one of the options. And then Corona, we're already in Temecula, so we want to expand more into Inland Empire. And we're just, when the opportunity comes, we're going to head that way. And the beauty of it, like you said, Casey allows us to kind of be a part of that growth. And because Courtney and I were the first reps, and we kind of helped structure a lot of, the sales team, we get to kind of decide where we want to go with that. Like, if we want to be a part of it, if we don't want to be a part of it, do I want to go out to Orange County and work that market? I probably can.
Yeah.
I probably won't, but it's nice that he kind of gives us that option.
But it's something you've earned.
Yeah.
You've earned it.
Yeah.
Don't want to play on the name The Grind, but you have truly, like, going on 9 years of still doing the daily activities that you need to succeed.
Yeah.
You're putting in the work, but it's showing off.
Well, I think that if you as a realtor, if you saw me just going to spa day every day and
I'd
just
be like,
relaxing,
oh, she works with luxury only.
Or, like at the gym midday, or, just in my gym clothes all day, you would probably say, like, I don't know if I want to align with you and work with you, because, you're not out hustling like I am.
Mm-hmm.
I'm out here working, and I want the team that I'm aligning myself with to do the same and to be out there working and hustling and, basically just looking for more tools and more to bring to the table for you. And if I'm not doing that, then
what's the point?
Yeah, exactly. You're probably going to go to a different company.
Which, like, for me, when I interviewed 4 escrows.
Okay.
And everyone says they has the best service. Everyone says they're the most responsive. But when you look at it as an agent, finding an escrow, it's got to be someone you mesh with, but someone that you think works harder than you. Like, I think you work harder than me. And that's something that it's like, hey, if Tanya's out doing this, I should be too.
Yeah.
So if you're looking at your career from the top angle, is there anything you would have done differently within these 9 years so far?
I would have started way earlier.
Like fresh out of college?
Probably. Would have not done my master's. Saved myself a lot of money. And probably made a lot more money, and probably would own more properties by now.
Okay, but I mean, you're still young. You have plenty of time.
Yes.
But if we're looking at like 21-year-old Tanya, you're like, I'm not going to bartend anymore. I'm going to go and be an escrow rep. How would you start? Like, for those listening who's thinking about it, what would you do day one to start?
I think I would have done the exact same thing I did. I would have been everywhere and anywhere a realtor was. I would hit all the caravans. I would just get to know all aspects of the business. And one of the biggest and most important things, like you said, is find true partnerships and people that can really, like, that just really, again, want you to win too. So you can grow together. And I've kind of done that with, title reps. I've done that with some of my lender partners. I've done that with even my realtor partners, where we've kind of grown together. It's kind of nice to kind of see where we're both at now, And so I would just continue to probably double up on everything that I was doing. especially when I was younger, if I had a lot more energy and time and I was single.
And no dogs?
And no dogs at the time, I would definitely have just doubled up on everything. And I don't know how, because I was working a lot when I first started. So.
But it speaks to kind of how to be successful. I think we're truly in a generation where people are no longer doing those desk jobs and realizing, hey, if I rely on myself, I could, one, have a better future, but two, have a better present. So you don't have that time when you're 21. Let's say, okay, 21, you don't have that time, but you're going to do the same thing. Is there one activity that you would have doubled down on? Whether it's the caravans, the happy hours, the
Probably
calls.
more calling.
Yeah.
More cold calling. I think people were a little more receptive back then for the cold calls. And that's kind of how I started my business. Yeah. I went off a list, aside from the caravans, and I had a list of potential agents that had worked with that I thought had worked with New Venture, because that was the list that was, the list that was left by the last rep. And I just started calling on them. Some of them had never heard of us, never heard of her or whoever it was, And so I said, well, let's have coffee. Let's sit down and let me tell you kind of what we're doing. And a lot of people were very receptive to that.
Well, you also have a very easy tone because you're not actually selling anything.
I'm not a salesperson like that. I don't ever like to consider myself one.
No, you're essentially a matchmaker. That's what I call you.
Yeah. Relationship builder.
Your job is to get people products and solutions. Mm-hmm. Are you actually handling the product solution? No. You're just saying, hey, I've got some great people that I want you to work with. You want to give them a try.
Yeah.
Because when you look at escrow itself, it's very intense. And we usually try and it's escrow. It's
stressful.
It sucks.
Yeah. And that's, what, I was talking to an agent of mine, and she said, I now have told my buyers and sellers, this is going to suck. It's going to be stressful. Because if you set it up to where, it's going to be so easy, I'm here to make it stress-free, then you're kind of lying to them, because no matter what, this is a huge transaction. It's going to be stressful. And a lot of documents come your way. A lot of things need to be signed. Everything's happening really fast, especially towards the end of it. And so it does get stressful. And so we have to have a team behind the scenes that's basically handling the stress and is very even keeled, that can calm the buyers and the sellers down, and the agents too, because they get stressed out as well.
Agents get more stressed,
yeah.
Especially the ones that need that commission check.
Yeah.
They are frantic.
Yep. That's all I got to say about that.
But looking at the whole escrow process, how often are people actually calling you hey, I need this from Albert, or I need this from my rep?
Very rarely, because as you know, Albert is quick on it,
unless he's in the desert.
Yeah, there you go. So that's the only time, and he's only allowed to go about once a year. So, just kidding. No, he's free to go anytime because he has a great team. But I think the beauty of it too is, if, for example, you said I'm a matchmaker. Part of me being a matchmaker is also matching you up and your team with the right escrow officer.
Correct.
If I would have matched you up with an escrow officer that you didn't fit with, you already have them, and they're that thought that New Venture escrow is not great. Yeah. So I have to make that initial introduction, and it has to be right, so that way it can work out. Because a lot of times you don't get that second chance.
No, but also personality-wise, you have every type of personality. Albert's great for me because I want 3-word emails. Yeah. EMD is in. Perfect. I don't want the, hey, how was your weekend?
Happy face.
Yeah, I don't want any of that. Albert's closed. Everyone's well, that's a little sad. I'm that's all I need.
Yeah.
So how many different escrow officers do you guys have at New Venture?
I think we're at 26 now.
And that's incredible because a lot of these shops have 3 or 4.
Yeah. So we have a lot of different personalities. We have from book sales to commercial to residential. We have refi desk. We have purchase. We just kind of have it all.
But that's something that truly also separates you from the competition, whether it's another rep or it's just another escrow company. Yeah. Because you guys truly are a one-stop shop for all escrows.
Yeah. And that's kind of going back to your question about what we have coming is, the book sales, the business sales, all those non-traditional escrows that usually get referred out to other companies. We're going to be able to handle all of it. So that's exciting.
Oh, that's very exciting. And it's something that, yes, as a sales rep, you still have those transparent conversations with your CEO. You kind of get to see this, let's call it a beast, because what you guys are working on, it's a beast of a company, kind of evolve and take over. How is that behind the scenes? Is it exhausting, or is it just this is immaculate?
look, there's nothing that's perfect ever, right? And with growth come, hiccups and
A lot of hiccups.
yes. And so, I mean, you've been a part of just the trial run of Vinny and,
Yep.
And being able to see the, the first rollout of it. And as especially with technology is not something that comes out perfect the first time around.
Never does.
Exactly. So there's a lot of like trial and error, and it's communicating to our agents and the clients, hey, this is going to be something we're working on, just letting you know in case something weird comes out.
Mm-hmm.
The more we know and the more communication we have on it, we can fix it and we can tweak it and make it as perfect as possible. But same thing with growth, right? There's things that, we come across and it just helps us improve and be better. But yeah, I mean, it's not easy, but it's so rewarding.
Oh, absolutely. Now, the hardest question, we're going to start wrapping this up. If you had to do this over, would you try and open your own escrow company, or would you do the same thing, like partner with the number one in your industry with the number one tech?
I would partner with New Venture. There's no reason why I need to reinvent the wheel. Honestly, and I'm a huge believer. It's like just align yourself with someone that's doing it. Align yourself with someone that has that vision too. That's going to support yours and kind of grow together. And that's kind of what we've been doing with New Venture with Casey and the team. And I just honestly, I wouldn't. There's a headache if you think about it to open your own escrow company.
Oh yeah, and it's also a hard question because, like me personally, dealing with New Venture and everyone you guys have, everyone's aligned. That's so rare with any. Let's do real estate company because everyone's got egos. That's so rare that you have a real estate company that everyone's aligned.
Yeah,
and
that's part of our culture. It's like if you don't fit the culture, it won't work. So if you're not okay with the technology and with adapting to the technology, and you're not good with the fact that we all like to get together and do things as a big family, like then it's not going to work. And that's also like we have escrow officers that help each other when they go out on vacation, and it's just such a great environment and great like community that we've built. So it's if you're not the right fit, you're not the right fit.
And like all that's good, but we're not even talking about all the work that you have to do or anyone in escrow behind the scenes to get it done. Which, like, without sugarcoating it, it sucks. But it's the grind to get to where we want to be. At the end of the day, no one wants to be prospecting all day. No one wants to be at happy hours all day. But that's going to help find success with not only you, but your partners.
Exactly. And honestly, it's just what you put into it in this business is what you're going to get from it. So it's just really don't.
Can we get that quoted and like on a billboard?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure someone else has said it a million times, but I'll take it.
We'll coin it for you.
That's fine.
Because if we're looking at it, real estate is by far, you only get what you put into it.
Yeah. And honestly, I always said, like, as soon as you feel like you want to give up, like, that's when you put in 200%, and it's going to be the most rewarding time.
Well, that was awesome. Thanks for coming on the podcast today. That's a great way to end it.
Thanks for having me.
And if you're listening at home and you want to get into working in escrow or you want to learn more, all of Tania's stuff will be in the description. Hit her up, ask her questions. And thank you again for coming on today.
Thanks for having me.
Right, but now I don't want to dance. Can I depend on a man? I slide some bread in the jam. It's just who I am.